52. Okay, we're back with Doc and the Boxer, episode 52. I'm Andrew Singh Kooner, and this is
the Doc,
Dr. Len Green in the house. And we're back. We're back after a couple of weeks of it. We weren't around. There's some family issues, problems, and not certain how problems, but some bad circumstances, but hopefully everything's okay, Len.
Yep.
And
we'll keep moving on.
Well, life is like that, right?
That's right, man. You never know what it's going to throw at you, but
and you got to roll with the punches.
Yeah. Speaking of rolling with the punches, good segue.
Yeah, see how it is.
Let's get right into that Rigondeaux fight.
Yeah. Okay, we gotta pronounce his name right first. It's Rigondeaux.
Rigondeaux.
So yeah, we'll jump right into that fight. And that was there was a slew of fights on Saturday night, and I was like, what fight should I watch? But for me, it was a no-brainer. Like, obviously, it was a lower weight class fight, bantamweight fight, and I'm talking about John Riel Casimero from the Philippines and Guillermo Rigondeaux in Cuba, fighting out of Florida. That was a fight that I had to watch. But then after watching it, I'm like, why did I pick this fight when I'm getting messages from people? I told them, don't message me because I want to watch the Ortiz fight after. And I heard that fight was great, and I watched it the next. Anyways, we'll get into all that. But let's break this fight down. Guillermo Rigondeaux and John Riel Casimero. So John Riel Cuatro Alas Casimero. He retains the WBO bantamweight title and improves to 31-4, 21 KOs with a split decision, 117-111, 116-112, and 113-115 over Guillermo El Chaco Rigondeaux, who now falls to 22 and 13 KOs. And this was a Showtime televised broadcast of what we were at Dignity Health Sports Club, great venue. What do you think, Doc?
Well, if I was like a new fan to boxing, I would not want to watch another Rigondeaux fight.
Yeah.
Look, we know the premise of boxing is hit and don't get hit. He practiced don't get hit and forgot about the hit.
Love it.
What's that?
Love it. That's exactly what it is.
And there's one thing being on your bicycle, but being on your bike like Laura, for example, another fellow Cuban, at least he picks his moments and attacks, gets in, gets out. First of all, he threw a few nice counter left hands, Rigondeaux, in different rounds, but I don't think he threw a combination. And that's not boxing to me. You gotta throw combinations, and it was single punches coming back from him. He did a lot of movement, so there was a lot of time where Casimero was chasing him. Sometimes he'd get the edge and be able to cut the ring off. But one thing about Rigondeaux, he does have great feet. There's no question.
The best that I've seen in boxing.
The movement he did was just from a sort of a ballet of boxing point of view. It was pretty impressive. But not throwing punches, picking spots, not throwing combinations. You're not going to win over the crowd, and you're not going to win the fight. So he deserved that loss, in my opinion. And I like actually I haven't watched a lot of Casimero fights, but I actually like him as a boxer. Like, he really was trying to come forward and throw, and trying to hit him, like trying to go to the body, which is the right move for a guy that's moving around. But even at his age, Rigondeaux still moves around the ring
Yeah,
pretty
40 years
well.
old.
Yeah.
40
What
years
do you
old.
think?
Yeah, I exactly what you said, Doc. And you know, the art of boxing is to hit and not be hit. That we know and we appreciate that. I mean, okay, if we compare him to like Floyd Mayweather. Like Mayweather was had the whole science of boxing down packed, hit, don't be hit. I mean, there was times where it was more defensive, but like with Rigondeaux, it was totally a defensive. He went into a defensive fight right from the beginning. I think in that second round when he got hit a few times and he looked like he went down, maybe got hit in the head, back of the head or whatever. He looked like he was hurt a little bit. But I mean, the thing is like he knew if he because in the lead up to the fight, he was talking like, I'm gonna stand there, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do and me personally, I thought, you know, this guy, he's 40 years old, he's a bantamweight, and 40 years old, that's ancient, like dinosaur. But I figured his legs are gone. He won't be able to move that much because in his previous fights, he was standing and he was fighting, and that was more entertaining, even though he would get hit and hurt and knocked down and whatever, but it was more entertaining. But he did absolutely no offense in this fight at all. And it was to honestly, I was like, I mean, the time when he fought Donaire, and that was a classic, that was a schooling then, because then Donaire, like these guys were in their prime, and that was a very interesting fight at that time. And to see somebody of Donaire's caliber, who was once pound for pound the best in boxing, get schooled like that by somebody is always impressive, right? But now this fight, like you're lucky that you're even still fighting, but you gotta entertain the crowd, you gotta win the crowd. The people don't want to watch him fight. There's so much bad comments about it, you know, there's no negativity towards it, and he even thinks he still won the fight, you know.
I know he does. And you know, it's I like to think about great defensive fighters, like Pernell Whitaker,
Yeah.
rest in peace. But Pernell, he was exciting in his defensive skills, not so much running, but more pivoting and bending from his waist and knees, but yet still standing his ground.
Right, and he was sitting in the pocket too. Like Pernell was a pocket guy. Like he maybe hits from here, then he's out. But Rigondeaux never engaged.
No, and Pernell also, after making the guy miss, he'd also make him pay.
That was the beauty.
There was no making him pay last night for missing.
Yeah.
If he throws and misses, make him pay. That's where Rigondeaux is lacking.
Yeah. Yeah. So Compubox.
Yeah.
This one pretty much like Rigondeaux landing only 44. Did he even threw 221 punches? Apparently. Oh no, this is total.
Yeah, that's still only less. That's less
an average of 18.4 per round.
Right. That's Bubkiss.
That's both guys. It's not just Rigondeaux. It's both. Compubox. Yeah.
What about
because Casimero couldn't even do anything. Like Casimero was there. The last three of us fights have been. Oh, sorry. He's on a 6-fight win streak. At all 6 KOs. And you know he wanted to fight and he wanted to knock out Rigondeaux and stuff, and he had the pictures on the heavy bag, like stepping on it and blah blah. I'm gonna knock him out.
But is there a stat for how many punches thrown?
Unofficially, the Compubox they counted 47 of 297 punches of Casimero's. Oh yeah, okay. So Rigondeaux was 44 landed in the whole fight, and Casimero was 47, which is not third. but he didn't engage. Like he was completely on the back foot the whole fight.
Yeah, it's hard to catch a guy and come out looking good. And I know he wanted to throw punches, Casimero, but he was throwing and missing. And then anytime he got close, within closing the distance, Rigondeaux was out of there. So it's not an accurate statistic. That statistic just makes it sound two guys are barely throwing. But it's not really accurate, because you had one guy moving and the other guy always coming forward, trying to trap him, trying to back him in against the ropes or the corner, cut him off. But he couldn't.
He couldn't. So Compubox history was made. 91 punches landed by both guys, the fewest in a 12-round fight. Ever. Compubox history. Rigondeaux. Yeah.
That says a lot, man.
Yeah. Rigondeaux says this: nobody wants to fight with me because I frustrate in the ring. I frustrate in the ring. I landed the punches that I needed to in order to win the fight tonight. This is how I win. I have these God-given skills, and this is how I display them. I'm a unique fighter. My style is only the one I know. You can see I'm still better than anyone else in the lighter weight classes, and I'm going to keep fighting. That's what he's saying.
Well, good luck getting fights. Good luck getting fights.
I always remember my fight with him, Rigondeaux. Yeah. And when he went on the back foot, because what the Cubans do, they because this was a semifinal fight, they go all out in the finals, and they conserve energy in their earlier belts in their tournament, wait for the finals. And Rigondeaux, he gained a big lead on me and just ran 2 rounds. I wouldn't even say running. I couldn't even touch him. And I was in peak shape, and I was at my peak then. And I couldn't even touch him. And he was going around the ring, and this ring is a smaller ring, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Couldn't touch the guy.
Oh man, that was a long time ago.
Yeah. So Casimero says this: I know Rigondeaux always run, but I'm surprised he's running always, no punching. And that's really what it was, right?
Mm-hmm. Totally. So it's hard to even. Did you find it hard to get into that fight?
I was disappointed that I watched 12 rounds of this fight that was more compelling and intriguing on paper than it was when you actually watched it.
Absolutely.
This is it. Rigondeaux, honestly, Rigondeaux, great for him. He's had a great career, 2-time Olympic gold medalist. He was a great professional. I would say he was a good professional. I wouldn't say great.
No, I wouldn't say great either.
Is it a Cuban thing that the Cubans dominate in amateur boxing, but when it comes to professional boxing, they don't dominate like they do in amateur? Not even close.
No, and we could name a few that are besides Rigondeaux.
Gamboa.
What's his name? The
heavy
super middleweight.
Lara.
No, Lara's done pretty well.
Yeah, Lara's done well. Lara's done well. He's probably done, but I would say the best Cuban is Joel Casimero. Because of Casimero's name, I'm getting it mixed up. Casimero. Joel Casimero, El Sabito.
Yeah.
He was a good fighter.
Yeah, I agree. But for the number of amazing amateurs coming out of the Cuban program, compared to the number of highly regarded professionals, I mean, it's a failure almost in the pros.
It is, and one thing about that as well as too is because the professional boxing banned in the country of Cuba anyways, right?
Yeah.
Professional boxing. So the training for professional boxing and amateur is different. I mean, not so much different, but the fighting is different. Amateur boxing is scoring points, winning trophies, medals, whatever. Professional boxing is a hurt game. Like it's you're trying to hurt somebody, knock them out, whatever the case may be. And the Cubans never really did what they did in the amateurs with professional.
No, and I mean, you made the transition from amateur to pro. You went through that transition of
But I didn't do
trying
it
to
good.
get points to trying to hurt.
And you know what? I'm a prime example of that. As an amateur, one of the best in the world in my weight class. But as a professional, I was only 10-3. And those 3 losses were all like no contest, but all bad stuff that happened, bad luck and everything. But anyway, but I was only that. But as an amateur, I was a 2-time Olympian and won all the 150 and 150 amateur fights, 130 and 20 losses as an amateur.
Amazing, right?
But the sport is different. Professional is different.
Yeah, for sure.
You go in the ring knowing that there's more of a possibility of you getting hurt and knocked out in professional than it is in an amateur.
How was your first pro fight? You're coming off a damn good amateur career. You're coming off of fights where you're wearing headgear, and now your first fight, you're a pro, no headgear, and it's not about points. What was your mindset like?
Honestly, it happened so fast, meaning that I was training, right? I was training and I was supposed to fight with Yvon Michel, Group Yvon Michel. They promoted me along with Mick Hennessy from England, Hennessy Sports. And then I was supposed to fight in, I think it was like October or something, but Yvon called me. He's like, hey, we need a fight on the Casino Montreal card. Otis Grant was fighting. I think it was Otis Grant. I think it was Otis Grant's last fight. Will you take the fight? I'm like, yeah, for sure I will. And then I had my first fight at the Casino Montreal, big event for me, like fighting on the undercard of Otis Grant as fighting main event. And it was quick. It was my first fight was it was the fastest knockout in Canadian boxing history. I don't know even if it's in boxing history, maybe Canadian for sure. It was like a 10-second knockout. I hit the guy, boom, he was done. He was actually even on the ground punching in the air, like, and fixing his headgear, like, but there's no headgear. It's a serious sport.
Wow. So you didn't even get hit.
Didn't even get hit. And I go back to my corner and talk to Mark Ramsey. I'm like, this is professional boxing. I'm going to go far in this, man. And then reality set in the next fight that I fought a Mexican guy with a, not a winning record, but just a tough guy. And I couldn't get him out of there. I couldn't, throwing everything. This guy is just tough as hell. He hit me with the body shot. I almost went. I didn't even know what happened. I was paralyzed with the body shot, but I didn't let him know. And then I go back to Mark after. I'm like, no, this is a real sport, man. This
you got tough, dude. Was that a 4-round fight?
6 round.
6 rounds?
6 rounds.
And you won that fight, eh?
Yeah.
Nice. The glory days.
Yeah, I was 4-0 before I went to England to have my first fight, and they switched my opponent last minute, and they bring in a southpaw from Mongolia, and I get knocked down in the first round. I think it was the first round or second round. Knocked down, a headbutt at first, a little cut, blood coming in my eye, knocked down, and in England they stop fights right away. I get knocked down, get back up, fight stop, like that quick.
Yeah, that's bogus, man.
Yeah.
Bogus.
Yeah,
But
whatever.
hey, was what it was. So
Yeah.
I did watch the I did watch the Ortiz Jr. fight, Vergil Ortiz.
Oh, let's go. Let's go to that one.
Oh,
So, first of all, impressive. Are you impressed?
I'm really
Yeah,
impressed.
aren't
I'm
you?
really impressed because what's that? How do you pronounce that dude's name?
Aegis Calabascas.
Yeah, he like first of
You can
all,
just say Mean Machine because that's his.
yeah, let's call him Mean Machine. That dude is, first of all, when he fought Crawford, he rocked Crawford.
He hurt him. Yeah.
Rounds. So I knew he was going to be tough in the early rounds, and he's going to present something forward. And he did. I mean, he looked like he not rocked badly, but he connected well.
He hurt him in the set. Like what round was that? I forget.
It was early. I think it was the second or fourth.
Yeah, he hurt Ortiz, right? Like
yeah,
in the second.
But Ortiz, man.
But Ortiz was smart. You know how some fighters get hurt, then instinctually they want to just like fight back. But he didn't do that. He fought like a seasoned veteran.
He did, and he caught him with some beautiful body shots where you saw he was in pain, and then he ended the fight with a straight. His first knockdown was a jab, but you could see he came from down here, shot it sort of up a bit, and knocked him down. That was beautiful. And then I think he ended the fight with a straight left to his body.
That one knockdown, because he went like bang bang and then bang, the jab, like that power jab thing, boom boom boom. That's so nice, right?
That was beautiful.
I show them that 2-1 all the time, and Eddie and them bang bang, 2-1. I love beautiful.
That. Yeah, it's very nice, and you can because you're bringing the two back, you're really getting nice rotation off the one again.
Yeah,
and it's a power shot with a little step in there. Woo.
Look, the shoulder goes back, and then bang, comes with so much force.
Right.
I'm glad you said about the body shots, because damn, Vergil with that slip, boom, fire to the body. Like, even though Calabascas, he didn't go down from it. Like, it wasn't like boom, he was hurt.
Yeah, you remember his reaction?
Yeah.
Yeah, he kept his elbow right near there after, with his hand a little lower.
Oh my God.
That was the beginning of the end for him, I thought.
Yeah. This was a great performance, like through and through, a great performance. And they're talking about it now. They're saying they want to move him now and to fight out of, like, not fight in Dallas now and go fight other places like Vegas and whatever, and where he can get like the bigger fan base, because he's that type of fighter now.
He's a very exciting fighter.
And don't you love, Doc, how last fight when he beat Hooker and he was already calling out Terrence Crawford, and we thought it was a little bit premature, but now after we saw this fight, we think, this kid's onto something.
He is. He's pretty impressive. And he is, the way he fights, it's perfect for Vegas and for big venues. People are really going to like him because he's knocking guys out, and he's coming forward, and he's smart in the ring, and he punches with bad intentions, and he's got power in both hands. How can you not like a guy like
18, he improves now to 18-0, 18 KOs, retains a WBO international title with the 8th round knockout of Edges, Mean Machine Calabascas, 22-18 from Lithuania, promoted by Golden Boy on DAZN, and at the Ford Center, Star Frisco, Texas. Ortiz 5 knockdowns in the fight.
Yeah.
Put him down 5 times.
Yeah.
Man, and this kid is tough. Like, he's got Olympian background and stuff. He's well schooled from the Russian the Russian bloc countries.
Yeah, for sure.
You
And you
know that.
notice the only like, and he's still young. He's still going to grow, I think, as a fighter. He holds a really high guard, and I know because of that, he got caught with a nice uppercut by Calavasquez or whatever his name is, Mean Machine.
Vergil has a high defense, right?
Yeah, it's pretty high. It's tight though.
I like it.
But the fact that he's a power puncher and he has defensive skills, I think I want to see him fight anybody in the top 5 in that, and that's a thick division, 147.
It's crazy that 147 divisions packed with so much talent and stuff. Wouldn't it be nice to see Boots Ennis with Ortiz?
Oh my God, that would be crazy.
So I mean the Crawford and Ortiz, that fight is not gonna happen first because Crawford looks like is gonna fight Porter now. And that's actually a good fight because we will get to see Terrence Crawford back in action because it's been so long.
It's been a long time. I mean, I like to see how he does against the guy that is just relentless and coming forward. But Crawford's just such a smart fighter. He's a real smart guy in the ring, and sometimes starts off slow and then he builds, figures some things out. Let me ask you a question. So do you think Porter's is an orthodox fighter, right?
Right.
You think he'll mainly fight southpaw Crawford?
I think he'll just do whatever he wants in that fight. I think Sean Porter, don't get me wrong, very, very tough and a very strong contender, but he's a step below the others. And I mean, if you say and I'm talking just a slight step, because look at this fight with Earl Spence. How that was a close fight, tough fight, but Spence pulled that one out. Yes. And that's where Porter remains to me.
Right.
Very tough, very good challenge.
Yeah. I think if he's going to fight Crawford at any point in Crawford's career, now is the time, with Crawford coming off of over 18 months layoff. I think it's 20 something months actually. So this is a good time for Porter, but Porter hasn't fought in a while too, right?
And speaking of Porter, and we're obviously going to talk about the Manny Pacquiao, Buckman, the Pacquiao. Do you see the shirt?
That is a great shirt.
Love the shirt.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I got it because I got it before. It was this weekend would be the fight with Earl Spence, but obviously it's gonna be Ugas. But now Jordanis Ugas he fought Porter as well too, and Porter won, but it looked to me, from what I've seen, it looked like Ugas won that fight.
Yeah, Ugas is no slouch, but he's no Earl Spence Jr.
No. Exactly.
I'm disappointed, man. I mean, do we want to talk about that yet, or we want to save that for the end?
Well, okay, let's see. We're just jumping all over the place, eh?
I know. It's rust. We have podcast rust.
Okay, let's just talk about that.
Yeah, because it's the same weight division. Yeah. So let's get.
There was some comments made in the Calavasquez and Ortiz fight.
Yeah.
But we'll come back to it. But yeah, so the fight with we all know now that the fight with Manny Pacquiao and Earl Spence Jr. is now off the table, and it's because of a torn retina that but it wasn't it was a tear in the retina, right?
Yeah, I thought it was a torn retina.
No, it wasn't. What was it? Torn. It was
But
a.
it may not have been detached.
Sorry, that's the word, detached. It was a tear, but it wasn't a detachment. A detached retina, because a detached retina, that's serious, and that's like almost career ending. And then
Correct.
Abner Maris is a prime example of something like that.
Yeah.
That's hard to come back from.
Yeah. And that's where the retina pulls away from the back surface of the eye, of the eyeball. But a tear they can repair, and hopefully he'll be back. But it's so disappointing because you're just building up. That's the fight you're watching all these other fights, but at the back of your mind,
there's a huge one coming up, a massive one. And did you hear like the talk and stuff about Earl Spence is faking this injury? He comes out a few days later with a picture with the patch on his eye because he just had the surgery and stuff. Do you buy into that?
No. What's the incentive to do that, to not fight, to fake an injury for him? Right? Is that
maybe?
All,
I don't. Yeah,
I don't know what the incentive would be. That's what we got to look at.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, but maybe the incentive would be that he, and I'm just speaking of what I've heard and stuff and the things but I don't think this way at all. But I'm not oblivious to things. Like I'll listen to things and I'll make my own decision.
Right.
But like like Spence, he saw Pacquiao. Like look at Pacquiao. Look at his conditioning right now and stuff, and he looks like just a machine right now. And the talk is that he's better now at 42 than he was like 20 years ago before he came to the US and had that fight with Laboa and got noticed and everything. And that's he looks better now than he looked even then. Well, I mean, I wouldn't say that far back, but he's looking better. And is it a question of did Earl Spence back out of it because of those reasons and thinking that there's a possibility that he can lose this fight? Because to me, this was a 50-50 fight from the beginning. But as they're training and stuff, I started seeing things. I started going Pacquiao. Pacquiao's going to win this fight.
Wow, man. Wow. Yeah. I mean, I guess it's a possibility, but we're talking about a lot of money, right? And to step away from that kind of money, that makes me a little bit doubt that he would fake the injury.
Yeah, I don't think.
I don't know, like that can be trade. We can find out who the doctor was, who the surgeon was. Like, there's probably facts that if we really looked into it, we could pull up facts.
Yeah.
That support that he did have a tear in his retina, and if it happened, it must have happened during like his sparring or something.
Yeah, that's what they said happened in sparring, and good thing that they found this type of injury now when it was just a tear before it became a detached, because had that not been found by the Nevada Athletic Commission, they did the testing as a prerequisite there in that state, but it shouldn't be. It should be in every state, right? That they in everywhere that they test the eye. But it isn't. It isn't. I know. It isn't, and it's sad.
Yeah, I think there should be. I'm more for universal rules when it comes to the safety of boxers than a state by state.
Yeah, exactly. I agree with that totally. Yeah. Universal. These are the laws of the land. This is
got it. Yeah.
This is it.
So I'm glad they found it, and if it's just a tear and it's not too bad, the tear, he'll be back. He'll be back.
He'll be back on. He'll be back. Pacquiao is already saying now that this could be his last fight. And so a fight with Earl Spence will probably never happen.
Really? He's saying
Yeah.
that
He's saying this could be my last fight. He's saying it could. It could be
Okay.
my last fight. Right?
Oh man.
So if somebody's pardon?
Did he say that before or after
No,
the
just
recovery of the
recently.
tear?
Recently in the well, he's already in Vegas now and for fight week. But he said that in an interview. And I have it here somewhere too.
Oh man. So he said that after he found out that the fight's off with Earl Spence because of the eye injury.
Yeah, after this is what he says. He's like, I'm unsure if I'll continue to fight beyond Saturday's contest.
Yeah.
He's the Filipino star saying he might retire. It's believed that he wants to run for presidency of the Philippines very soon.
Mm-hmm. You know what? I think we got to see how he fights against Ugas, and if he wins in impressive style, maybe he'll change his mind, or he'll say, "No, I still got it. I want to keep fighting." You never know.
Yeah, possibly, right? Because winning is a solution to everything, right? When you win. And also just about that, I was looking at that because you know how we talked about it, and like, you know, Pacquiao talked about these fighters that are older are talking about it less being better. And I'm talking about, you know, not fighting as much as they used to when they were hungry and whatever, and they're building and but not fighting as much. So if you look at Pacquiao in his last fight, so his last fight, well, it was in 2019, so 2 years ago. That's when he beat Thurman, split decision. Then he had another fight in 2019, earlier in the year against Adrian Broner, 1-12. Then he fought in 2018 against Lucas Matisse, fought in 2017 against Jeff Horn, 2016 against Jesse Vargas, another fight in 2016 against Timothy Bradley, 2015 against Floyd Mayweather, 2014 against Tris Algieri.
Oh yeah.
So it's not like he's fighting 3 or 4 times in a year,
right?
And he has all that. And he was talking about the rest in between. You know, this 2 years has been phenomenal for him. This is what his body needed.
Well, there's a lot of merit to that for sure, especially when you're past 35 and he's 42, right? 42. So yeah, the body recovers very differently than a 22-year-old compared to a 42-year-old. So
there, one little tidbit about the Ugas fight, because Ugas was on the undercard, and that's why. No, you know, when I first heard Ugas, you know, has this guy even been training and stuff? But he has, because he was fighting on the undercard, and he was fighting Marcos Maidana's brother, Fabio Maidana.
Oh, wow.
And Fabio Maidana had to pull up because of the same injury to his eye.
Weird, man. Yeah. That's quite a coincidence.
Then Ugas gets a call, and Ugas is, you know, 35-year-old Olympic bronze medalist.
Yeah. Look, I'm happy for Ugas. This is a great opportunity for him.
Yeah.
I'm good. I mean, we're gonna watch a fight. We want to see how Pacquiao does, but
I'm gonna be watching the fight with my shirt on, and you know, it's Pacquiao. Like, this is great that we're 2 years. It's been 2 years since we've seen him coming in the ring. You know, him smiling, like doing all that. You know,
I was getting so excited about this fight that I spent the last few weeks watching his older fights again.
Yeah.
And watching how amazing he was. So it was very disappointing to get that report.
Yeah.
That the fight's off. Damn.
This is the fight game, right? This is something that we always have to But good thing that Pacquiao, like, we have to give Pacquiao credit too, that
Yeah.
because it's up to him ultimately. If they bring him another opponent, he gets to say yes or no. And
Right.
he says yes, he wants it. He wants to fight Ugas. There's story of Ugas with the WBA belt, and that was Pacquiao's belt that got stripped from Pacquiao and basically handed to Ugas. So that belt will be on the line too, if belts even matter
Right. Right.
in boxing.
Who did Ugas lose to?
He lost to Porter.
Porter, and also he lost to another name.
He lost. Man, jeez, you got me there.
Yeah, my memory sucks for names.
Well, we'll go back to it.
But anyways, yeah.
Yeah, Doc. So
Yes.
just the story of Pacquiao, right?
Yeah.
Like, and it's well known about Pacquiao, where he came from and everything, and where what he got to, and all that. But it was 20 years ago when he got the call to fight Lalo Labuawa for the
Yeah.
IBF belt, and who was considered to be the best in the division, featherweight division. He was supposed to fight Enrique Sanchez in the co-main event on the HBO card of Oscar De La Hoya and Javier Castillejo. I think that was the fight where they gave it to De La Hoya, but Castillo. No, that was Felix Strum. That fight. Yeah. So 2 weeks before the fight, Sanchez gets injured, and he needs a late replacement. So there was names that were tossed around. Manny Pacquiao number 3 on the IBF, and they gave him an offer, and he took it right away. He was already training in LA with
That's right.
With Freddie Roach.
Freddie, yeah.
Yeah. And there's been a little bit of I was reading a little bit of what's been going on with Boo Boy Fernandez and Freddie Roach. Because do you remember the Lucas Matisse fight? And we thought, oh, Freddie Roach is not in the picture anymore, because Freddie Roach wasn't there, and Boo Boy was he there? I'm not sure if he's there, but Boo Boy was the main trainer.
Yes, I remember that.
And Boo Boy was even talking in an interview saying that for this fight, he's like, I don't know who's gonna be in the corner. He's like, I should be the one in the corner. So there's that between Freddie Roach and Boo Boy. I mean, I don't know, like, who would you go with here? Like, it's whatever Pacquiao wants. It's whatever Pacquiao says, right?
You go with the guy that's been there. Like, both of them should be in the corner.
Yeah.
Right? Because they have both been in the past.
The chief.
But he was the lead trainer, Roach.
Yeah.
I think you keep the same formula that's been working.
100%. That's it.
Yeah.
That shouldn't even be an issue.
No, it shouldn't be. And I don't think it will be, especially because he's been training again with Freddie, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So
and who's been sparring with him?
With Pacquiao?
Pacquiao? Cambosos.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, he's been sparring with Pacquiao. And there's another postponed fight we haven't heard anything about.
I mean, like, I don't know, man. Like, I don't even know what to say about that. Like, if it happens, it happens. But let them move on. Let's see Teofimo and Lomachenko fight.
Yeah. Well, how do they get around though the mandatory then?
Give the belt away. Give it up. But the thing is, Triller has already invested this kind of money in this that I'm sure there's contracts signed and everything they're stuck in this position right now.
Yeah, if he tries to fight Loma or one of the other dudes in that division, I just think that that there's going to be legal issues, just
Yeah.
like what happened with Tyson Fury and
Yeah.
Wilder, right?
And
So
there was legal issues with this Pacquiao and Spence fight too.
I remember, but they made it happen. I mean, they pushed it through.
They made it happen. The judge, I think, put a injunction in that nothing can happen. This fight is gonna go on. Paramount was the company that was, I think, suing Pacquiao or
Right.
trying to throw the fight off, and looks like the fights are happening in the courtroom nowadays.
Oh man, that sucks.
Okay.
For us,
Yeah,
man.
yeah.
We just want to
But
see the best fights.
I mean, like, you know, I hope that Pacquiao has a dominating performance, and I really think he will, and the pressure will be there for him to stay. But whatever he wants to do, he can bow out whenever he wants, because his career has been, I couldn't say any other fighter has had a better career than Pacquiao, really, if we look at it.
I agree. Eight division
Yeah.
world champion.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
It hasn't been done. His fights are entertaining. His fights are, he's always I give 100% I pray to God. He's always been that type of guy. And
My wife, Jinky.
my wife Jinky.
I love my wife Jinky. I love
Yeah.
down by the Reaper. I love her. I love the Filipino accent.
Yeah.
I like it.
And like, you look at what he's done for boxing in that country and stuff, and maybe
how many good Filipino fighters there are now.
Yeah, there always has been like a good boxing has been a popular sport in the Philippines. Pacquiao has elevated it tremendously in Asia and stuff.
Absolutely.
And giving people hope and stuff. Like, look what he does for the country, and how he builds all those houses for people to live in, and he donates so much money. He's like Roberto Duran was. After a fight, he'll stand on the street and give people money, and you see Pacquiao giving people money and stuff, and humanitarian.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. We just don't want to see the story close, the book close on Pacquiao yet.
Not yet. Like a great ending to his career would be to fight like Earl Spence or Crawford or anybody in the that's a top 147 pounder. That would have been nice to see. But those two guys particularly, I would have liked to see them fight.
So do you think after all this with Earl Spence that he will be back?
I think it depends on his showing this Saturday night, and if he dominates and it's classic Pacquiao, I think he fights again.
No, I mean Earl Spence. Do you think Earl Spence from that injury that will be back and still be able to be at the top level?
I think so, with the tear, but I don't know how deep the tear is, how long the tear is.
Yeah.
So I would need more. We would need more details on that. But and how the surgery went, what the surgeon says. But because it wasn't mentioned as career ending, I think he'll be back. Now the question is, when he comes back, will he try to get a Pacquiao fight again?
Yeah.
Let's say Pacquiao says, "Yeah, I'm gonna still fight. I don't know who I'm fighting next, but I'm gonna still fight." Now, what's his name recovers in the next 3-4 months. Would he want to fight Pacquiao again? What's your thought on that?
And then the thing is, I'm just thinking like, and then Pacquiao damages the eye like he did with Margarito. And then makes the eye like,
I mean, he paved the nice path for the rematch of Margarito and Cotto, because Cotto ended up busting up his eye again too.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's a very different injury from a bony injury. This is soft tissue, very different from bony, but a bone injury. But if he comes back, I highly doubt he's going to take his first fight back with a guy like at the caliber of Pacquiao. I just doubt it.
That's a good point. Yeah.
And then will he ever fight Crawford? Will those two guys ever meet in the ring?
See, because the thing is, if that's the case with Earl Spence, he comes back, he's not gonna want to fight somebody like Pacquiao right away in his first fight back, most likely. And then we're talking about more time, and Pacquiao's 42. We're lucky that he's still even fighting now till this age.
True.
How much more can he stay?
I don't know, man. So time is now a factor for Pacquiao. After this fight, he needs time to recover. Then he doesn't. We're into another year. We're into 2022.
Yeah,
he's another year older. Is he gonna want to fight again? It's everything's up for grabs there.
Yeah. We'll see. We'll just take it one step at a time. Let's see what happens this weekend. On Saturday, we'll be back on Tuesday to discuss what happened in this fight and how Pacquiao looks.
Let me give you a prediction, not of the fight, but of a potential opponent for Spence when he comes back, fights maybe a guy at 147 that's not quite his caliber, just to test out his eye, make sure everything's good. Yeah. And then he wants to fight a bigger name at 147. You know who I think?
Garcia or Thurman?
Thurman. Yeah. He's already fought Garcia.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah. I think it's Thurman because Thurman's training again. He's been
very
vocal on social media and on YouTube. So I think there's a good chance because I really believe that Spence thinks he can easily handle Thurman.
Who was it that was one of the young guns was they were talked about? Oh, you know what it was, Doc? Gervonta Davis and Keith Thurman.
Wow.
There's talk about that fight. Like once the talk starts, that's how it gets going. Talk.
Wow. So that means he'd go up another weight class?
But he went, it was 140, right?
140.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe they'll meet at a catch weight. But I heard that's it. There's talk of that fight.
I'd like to see that fight if that ever happened. That would be something.
So going back to the Casimero.
Yeah.
Casimero goes. So Casimero, what's next for you? Two guy. Oh wait, no. What did he say? Two guy. Donaire? No. Inoue and Donaire. Inoue and Donaire. But okay, look. If he fights any of those guys, he's to me, he's like he'll get beat not easily but those top guys will have their fun with him.
I think those guys would want to fight him too because he's got a belt, and I think they know they can.
But it's only an international belt, WBO international. There's so many belts nowadays.
I know, but that's what these guys are trying to collect now, right? Some of them are trying to collect belts, but I think it's more likely to be Donaire than Inoue. I think it's more likely Donaire because then you've got a clash of the two Filipinos as well.
Yeah, but the thing is, like, let's not forget this, that initially what was supposed to happen, and that was Rigondeaux and Casimero was supposed to happen first. Then Rigondeaux, Donaire came into the picture because of his big victory against the French guy Bali. then Donaire comes in the picture. Now this fight with Donaire and Casimero is supposed to be, and Rigondeaux takes the back seat, and this fight is gonna happen. But then Casimero wouldn't agree to the I think was it
the
California's, Nevada, for whatever testing. He didn't agree to it.
Yeah.
Plus, he made all those they made all those lewd and rude comments about Donaire's wife and stuff. And so Donaire said, "I'm not even fighting this guy." But the money can bring them back together again, right?
Absolutely, money and a little bit of time can, for sure.
Yeah,
for sure. And Donaire may go, you know what, I got to teach this guy a lesson. His mouth shut.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's what I would want to do if somebody kind of did, diss my wife like that. So
wouldn't have been kind of interesting though to see Donaire and Rigondeaux, only because Rigondeaux beat him so easily the first time. That do you think he would be able to do that again at 40 years old?
No, because he's just not. He threw more punches in that fight against Donaire.
Yeah.
I think Donaire's become a smarter fighter and probably learned a lot from that fight.
Yeah.
And Donaire still has some power too. So no, I don't think it would go the same way. I think it would be a closer fight, but I believe that Donaire would pull that one off. Just from what I saw on past Saturday.
Yeah.
Man, it just amazed me with Rigondeaux. I know we're going back to it, just how there was no combination punching. Like,
there's nothing.
That's not boxing. That's a part of boxing, what he did, an important part. But there's two sides to it.
If there, for sure. They always say defense wins, but there's got to be, without offense, there's no game.
Right.
Like you got to put points on the board somehow.
Exactly. If you were watching a soccer game and the one team's always in the defensive zone, they're not pushing forward.
Yeah.
They're not going to win, even though they may get a draw, but they're not going to win. And boxing, remember, part of the judging is ring generalship and aggression and all this stuff. And he lacked a lot of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that, man, like I will never boo a fight. I just won't, because these guys are still in there working their off. So I will never boo a fight. But boy, when watching
you're close to booing that one.
Not booing it, but I was just like frustrated. I'm yelling at him, like, throw a freaking at least one combination each round.
Do something, man.
Something, but no, I think it's going to be hard for him to get a fight. Like, what promoter is going to try? Why promote him?
Originally, he was promoted by Top Rank. He was dropped quickly because of that style of fighting. It's not pleasing.
No.
Even though people are going to argue, that's boxing. But in boxing, you have to entertain. You're an entertainer. You have to win the crowd. The people got to like you. Not watching a defensive fight.
But even us watching and admiring that defensive skill that he has, and footwork and all the things that we admire about a guy that knows his defense and has a skill to implement it. And I love that. But again, if there's no offense mixed in defense, then it's not a full boxer to me.
Yeah.
You gotta mix in some brilliance. Like John Ennis Boots is a perfect.
Yeah.
He's got some beautiful movement defensively, but offensively, he knows how to strike.
Oh yeah, you're right. Exactly. Yeah.
That's a complete fight.
Yeah.
Rigondeaux was a complete fighter as an amateur. As a pro, he's not complete. He's too heavy on not throwing, being defensive.
And that's what I always said about him, like Rigondeaux, because obviously one thing, like with me, I was always a big fan of boxing. even when I was fighting, because like, especially watching other fighters and stuff like Rigondeaux, and I knew who these, obviously I knew who these guys were, and I watched their fights and like be like amazed by how sick he was and stuff. But I'm like, if this guy just puts his foot on the gas pedal all the time, he'll beat everybody. But he doesn't. He's not that type of fighter, and you can bring a horse to water, but you can't make him drink it.
Yeah, I think that sums him up. And the thing is, he still has a quick counter left hand.
Deadly shots, man.
You see it; it's there all the time.
Yeah,
it's ready to go. If he would just throw that more often and then throw punches and bunches, his career would be so much better.
And then you watch his sparring sessions, and he's eating guys up like boom, 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 like at 40 years old. Like it's all from the sparring set, and like this is totally not what he did in the ring. Like underneath the lights, that's when it matters.
Right. You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
So at least we got other good fights to look forward to as well.
Yeah. We'll go over all that. We'll on Tuesday we'll talk about the Pacquiao fight, and we're back. We're back. Episode 52, and we'll episode 53 next week.
You got it, bro.
Let's go, Pacquiao. Yeah, it's a good fight. It's a good fight. That I beat to God. I beat to all the people at the Philippines. Right.
All right, buddy. I'll talk next week.
All right.
Cheers.